The meeting is live.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Public Works Committee meeting on Tuesday, October 6, 2020, and it is 2:36 p.m. We have three things on the agenda for today. The first one is Williamsport Water Authority and, Dave Columbine. Joe, are you taking over for Dave?
I'm going to take over, but Dave is here at the meeting also because I like him here just in case there's questions that I can't answer. He can definitely answer the questions, but I can present.
Dave is here with me.
Oh, I see Dave.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, Dave, who's going to start this? Dave?
No, it'll be me first because I'll
Okay,
go through the
go ahead.
resolution. Okay. What you have
Okay.
before you, if you want me to start.
Sure.
Okay. What you have before you is a resolution authorizing the excavation of certain streets for a water main project for the city of Williamsport and the Williamsport Municipal Water Authority. This is our standard agreement. Before I get into the agreement, just two quick things I wanted everybody to be aware of. Typically at this time of year, we will get resolutions like this because the ordinance says that no one's allowed to cut the streets after the asphalt plants close sometime in November. There's never a date because the plant could close early, it could close late, depending on the weather. Okay. But once that happens, then no one's permitted to cut the street unless they go through a resolution, which allows Public Works to recommend, not recommend, and it allows City Council to approve or not approve the cuts after that particular date. So this is the project, Monty, you just talked about it. The biggest part of this project is a water main extension that's on Grampian that extends up to Upland, goes up Franklin, comes down Lundy Drive. And this project has just started, which they don't need permission for us during this time frame to cut. But what will happen is they probably will not get it done by the time the plants close, which means it won't be milled and overlaid. So what we do at this point is give them an extension of time to do that. Certain things we put in a resolution. Once the plants close, they need to use high performance cold patch instead of cold patch for the roads. Also, some of these are brick streets that they're into at a certain area. So I put that in because this resolution covers 3 of your projects, if I'm correct, Eric, correct? Okay. So, and one of them is in the brick area. So I just wanted to make sure that there was a note in there on how they need to restore those brick streets, which they're fully aware of, but it's always good to have it in the resolution. And then we also always put in here that they have 45 days once the plant's open to mill and overlay, unless they get into an agreement or contract with the city, because it may be one of those types of roads where maybe the other half of the road needs work. We're going to mill and overlay that side. The water authority would have to mill and overlay the other side. So we do it as a joint project. It's cheaper in the long run, both for the water authority and the city, and it becomes a better project. And that we usually do ours more towards the end of the year than the beginning of the year, if I'm correct on that. Dave, correct? Most of our milling and overlays usually happen in September.
Well, a lot of it does. It's September, October, depending upon, what Adam has worked out with the contract, when he has the contract signed. And a lot of that's going to depend on how soon we can get the paving contractor back in.
Right.
I think Big
This
Rock,
is the first. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
I think Big Rock's going to be coming back in soon because they're going to be working on a couple streets that are still pending. Mill and overlay that the city had put out, which was piggybacked with UGI. UGI came out with their request to get some additional streets done. They're not totally completed, but Big Rock's supposed to be coming back and getting those done with milling and overlay.
So this will be the first. You'll probably get a couple other ones because, like Dave said, UGI is in the process of doing it, finishing up some project, but it may not be milled and overlaid by the end of this year. So we'll probably have a few more of these agreements coming through before the plant closes. But this is the one that's on the table right now. Dave and I looked at it. I don't really see an issue with anything. So I'll hand it over to you, Bonnie, if you have any questions of me, Dave, or the Water Authority.
Hey, Dave, any questions?
I think one of the first things that come to mind, as Joe mentioned, the moratorium starts at the end of October, goes to the end of March next year. And that's the reason for this extension, to continue with the Williamsport Water Authority with that project. He did touch on the base. We want to get base in there. At this point, if base, when at certain times, if it becomes non-available, then we want to see high performance cold patch be placed in there. May get to a point when high performance may not be available. It might have to go to cold patch, but we'd like to see base material meeting 6 inches, as Joe mentioned. You want to get at least a minimum of 6 inches in there, base material. If they can do the cutback so that it's prepped. It's all part of prep for future milling and overlay for those areas once they get the main ditch line in. And then obviously there'll be service laterals, water laterals, and whatever they can get in base done, then it's all prepped for next year when it comes up for milling and paving.
Okay, Vince, Dave, do you have any questions?
None on my end. This is just part of the whole process of the Water Authority working with us, so it's great to have them as a partner.
Vince?
I don't have any questions. Pretty much right there in line with Councilman Banks.
It's great that we are keeping in touch with one another and making sure we're all on the same page of where we're going. Like I said, I saw this yesterday and it was like, oh, it's a huge project. It really is. And it's something that we're all working on. I mean, between all the utilities. And Dave Columbine, you are doing a fantastic job as far as keeping us informed and keeping everybody else informed. So I see no problem with this. And I'm sure if there is a problem, we'll hear from either the authority or from Joe or Dave. So we'll just, need a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Yeah, I make a motion to forward this to the full body of council deposit recommendation.
Okay, so I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Before we go any further, I forgot for the record, Janice, you'll probably hate me for this. Who's present at the meeting is Councilman Vince Palizzi, Councilman David Banks. We have Aaron Threat, and we have Mike Miller and Eric Smithgall from the Water Authority, Joe Girardi from the administration, and Chris Cooley is here. And we have Dave Columbine from the administration also. Sorry, guys, I forgot to do that in the beginning. Other than that, on the agenda, Water Authority, is there anything else that needs to be discussed with the Water Authority? Any kind of discussion at all?
I can bring up something.
Sure.
This will be for Eric. Eric, when you have time, I haven't seen the Williamsport Street excavation permit for this project, for obviously the one that started up Franklin, Lundy, Upland, Selkirk. So we'll need to get an address. Typically what's done, and Ian has done this with a lot of the other permits and projects, get a viable address up there, maybe Upland or upper part of Franklin that's in that project area. And then we'll need the road closure permits, road closure lane permits sent in to us. And then what we can do is we'll utilize an address up there in that project, and then we'll take out the excavation permit for the project.
Yeah, we'll get that over to you then.
If you have any questions, Eric, just let me know about that. Because I haven't seen it yet, and I know they're up there working up on Franklin.
And I know Dave likes to keep on top of all the permits because he closes them out, and it's very important that we do keep on top of it. Next thing on the agenda is any related items. Does anybody have anything else to bring to the table?
The only thing I had to add was, Mr. Banks, I got an email. I'm assuming you did receive these drawings. Am I correct? In the mail, as far as the drawings from the Williamsport Water Authority?
Chris Cooley forwarded a map over to us just prior to this meeting.
Okay.
Other than that, it says fiscal year 2021 location map. Is there anything other than that?
No, that was it. I just wanted to make sure you got it. I thought Janice may have sent it out to you, and if it didn't, I apologize. I'll make sure next time everybody gets it. It's always nice to have something in front of you so you can see where the project's going.
Ms. Caskett, could I jump in just for a little bit of history here?
Yes.
And this may be a repeat for some of the members of council, but it may be new for some member or people who are watching from home. What the authority is doing here is we are trying to get out ahead of the city with their paving. So we get a list from Adam of the intended streets they expect to do in subsequent years. And we check our infrastructure and make sure it's good and proper so that we will not end up digging in your freshly paved streets. one of the other benefits to it is we share in your paving costs. So when you let us know which streets you're doing ahead of time, and we know that we have poor infrastructure on those streets, we replace it, and then we share with you guys in the contract for paving those streets. So really, it's a win-win for both of us because it gives you some money towards paving the street. And it also lets us fix the infrastructure so that we don't have any problems ahead of time. I know, having been a borough manager, that you hate to see your freshly paved streets dug up, which is why I think the coordination is great. We're working well with all the city officials to make sure that we're staying in communication with these items. And these streets that we've selected in particular, again, are based off future paving that you intend to do. And we looked at areas where we've had repeated problems or dead ends or inadequate services. So it's really a big improvement to our system, and it'll help you guys along with some paving costs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. And we all do appreciate that we all are working together. I think it saves us all time and money and aggravation all the way around. If there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much, okay? And we'll be talking to you all later. Take
All right,
care.
have a good day, everyone.
Go get some fresh